Buying a home in the GTA, it can feel absolutely impossible, right? You've got people pressuring you, you have a million decisions to make, and ultimately, you don't know if it's the right time to buy or if it's not the right time to buy. And if you're like most first-time home buyers right now, you're probably just wondering, where do I even start in this whole process? How much do I need? How do people actually afford this? In this video, I'm going to give you the complete step-by-step guide to buying your first home in the GTA. Whether you're months away, starting to think about it, I'm going to walk you through every little step, and I mean everything. How to budget realistically in today's market, the first-time home buyer repayment programs that are available to you across Ontario, and how to avoid a lot of the common mistakes that buyers are making that could save you thousands of dollars. And exactly what to expect from the day you start looking to the day you actually get your keys to your first home. Over the past 10 years, I've helped guide my clients through just about everything, every type of buying situation, from saving up for their very first home, navigating bidding wars, tough financing, and everything in between. So I'm sharing this video with direct experience from my clients that I've dealt with across the GTA, not theory, not some guesswork, just some actual experience and real results that we've had along the way. So grab a pen, take some notes, stick around till the end, because if you're serious about buying your first place in Ontario, this is the only video you are going to need. Now, before we talk about mortgages, showings, paperwork, let's ask a question that no one asks enough. Should you even be buying a home right now? Not in 10 years, not because your parents told you to, but right now, in today's market, with your lifestyle, your income, and your priorities. Because here's the truth. Buying a home is not automatically the right move for everybody. In the GTA, home ownership comes with responsibility, high carrying costs, taxes, maintenance, and pressure. In some cases, renting and investing the difference can actually put you further ahead. So before you actually move forward, you need to ask yourself this question. Am I financially stable? Am I planning to stay in one place for the next 5 to 7 years? Do I have an emergency fund outside of my down payment that I already have saved up? Is this purchase going to actually support the life I want, or is it going to stretch me thin every single month? If you answered no to more than one of those questions, it might not be the right time for you. You're welcome to stick around and watch the rest of the video, but that's okay. If you're on solid ground right now, you're ready to do the work, here is how you can actually start preparing today. One of the biggest mistakes first-time homebuyers make is thinking that the pre-approval you're going to get from your bank is your budget. It's not your budget. The number that they give you is the maximum amount that they're comfortable lending you. That's actually not what's smart or sustainable for your life. Here's what I think when I hear pre-approvals. I want you to look at your monthly comfort zone. Add up your income, subtract your fixed expenses, see what you can afford while still living a life. Right now in the GTA, if you're buying a $550,000 condo with 20% down and you want to lock in at a 5.5% fixed rate, your mortgage payment alone is going to be about $2,700 a month. That's before you add maintenance fees, property taxes, insurance, which can bring up your total to $3,400, $3,600 a month. So be real with yourself. If your budget can't handle that without feeling stretched, it doesn't mean that homeownership is off the table. It does mean, though, that you may need to adjust your expectations here. Look in different neighborhoods, build long-term plan that you can actually get into homeownership comfortably. Now, the good news is, if you're buying your first home in Ontario, there are a lot of great programs that are available out there that can make this a lot more manageable for you. So we're going to talk about those. There's 5 different programs across Ontario that can help you out. The first one is the RRSP Home Buyers Plan. You can actually withdraw up to $35,000 from this plan tax-free and put it towards your down payment of your first home. That means if you have a couple who both haven't bought their first property, you can pull out up to $70,000 tax-free as a couple. You will need to repay that into your RRSP over the course of 15 years, and you're going to be given 2 years grace period to start making those payments. The second option out there is your first home savings account. This is a new one. The option here lets you save up to $40,000 total towards your first home with tax-free growth and deductible contributions. It's like combining an RRSP and a TFSA together, but it's just for home buying. And if you decide not to use any of this, you can roll it into your RRSPs if you'd like. The third program that's available is your land transfer tax rebate. You may or may not know yet, but you do have to pay a land transfer tax when you make a purchase on a home. But when you buy your first home, you are going to receive up to $4,000 provincial land transfer tax rebate on that first purchase. And if you're buying in Toronto, you may be eligible for an additional rebate of $4,475 on your municipal land transfer tax. The fourth program is your CMHC Shared Equity Federal Program. I am not a big fan of this one, but I'll tell you about it anyways. If you're putting less than 20% down on your home, the government may offer you assistance in your down payment. However, by allowing them to do that, they are going to want a piece of the equity of your property when it comes to selling it down the road, but they don't want anything to do with the depreciation. It might be worth talking to a mortgage broker, but this is one that I am not encouraging many people to get involved in. And the fifth and final thing is GST and HST rebate. This is for pre-construction or new build buyers. So if you're buying new construction, part of the sales tax might actually be eligible for a rebate. But make sure that this is included up front. Builders definitely build this into their overall pricing usually, assuming that you qualify for it, but you don't always qualify. Now, I recently worked with a couple, Mississauga. They thought they needed $100,000 to buy, but once we tapped into their FSHA, RSP, they bought a place for $540,000 with just over $30,000 down. There are always ways to move forward in paths of home ownership if you utilize some of these tools that are available to you. So if you made it this far, you are already ahead of most buyers out there. You understand your financial foundation, your potential programs, and the big picture of what buying actually is going to cost you in today's market. So next we're going to talk about pre-approval and how to do it the right way, how to build your buying team so you're not navigating this process alone. Financing is in motion, or even if you haven't started yet, it's time to actually build out your team. Because buying a home is not a solo mission. You need a group of people that have your back throughout this whole process, who know how to protect your best interests in the whole transaction. Now, this team is going to consist of a realtor who actually works for you. If you're starting from scratch and you're not sure who to talk to first, starting with your realtor is actually a good place to start. And if that's me, I've already got a trusted network of mortgage brokers, lawyers, home inspectors, and even insurance contacts that are ready to go for you. If you've built up relationships with professionals out there, you can always reach out to them as well. But I like to go into this with my clients and give them every bit of guidance and security that I do have available for them. So if you don't know where to start, that's okay. We can actually work on this together. Now, the second piece of your team is either the mortgage broker or the bank. If you already have one, great. If not, I can connect you with a mortgage specialist who can explain things for you clearly and give you those real options. Not just the one bank that offers one product. Whether you're self-employed, salaried, using gifted money as your down payment, I'll match you with someone who knows how to structure your file properly and actually get you pre-approved the correct way. The third person as part of your real estate team here is a real estate lawyer. They'll handle all the legal paperwork when you make an offer and close the deal. And again, I've got people that I trust and work with regularly. I'll make sure you're not scrambling to find the cheapest lawyer out there, somebody just last minute who answers your phone call. Plus, I've got you covered with all the other aspects of your team: home inspectors, insurance, condo document reviewers, and even contractors. If you're planning to renovate after moving, do you want a pool? We've got a pool guy as well. The bottom line here is this: you're not doing this alone. When we work together, I bring the team so you can focus on making the right decision, not worrying about who do I need to reach out and contact next. So once you're pre-approved and your team is ready, now comes the fun part. You actually get to start finding the right home for you. And knowing how to shop smartly is extremely important. Now at this point, you're already pre-approved. We've talked about your budget, and now it's time to start the fun part, searching for that home. But here's the truth right now. This is also where a lot of buyers start to lose focus in the whole process. Some of the common traps and pitfalls that we find nowadays are you start by wanting a $550,000 condo, but then you see a $625,000 one with a little more space, and then a $700,000 one with a balcony and a den, and suddenly you're looking $100,000 above your budget, and you're telling yourself it's only a little bit more per month. The next pitfall we commonly come across here is you want to look at 25 properties in 6 different neighborhoods. And they're more confused than ever. You also keep chasing the perfect home instead of looking for the right fit. Now, here's what I'm always reminding all of my clients every time we have our conversations. You're buying your first home. You're not buying your forever home. The goal here is security, freedom, and smart positioning yourself in the real estate market, not perfection. Now, how can you stay focused? Make us a clear list of your needs and your wants. Stick to your monthly comfort zone, not just your approval limit. Otherwise, you will stretch yourself more than you're willing to spend every single month. And think about real value, neighborhood, and how the home actually fits your lifestyle, not just the square footage and the space that you have available to you. Now, here's how we handle some of the first showings together. First, I'd like to show you a handful of properties across different cities. So if you tell me you want to see something in Toronto, Brampton, and Mississauga, we'll go out there and we'll do that on our first day looking at properties. We'll look at a couple properties in each place. And then from there, we can really hone in on what neighborhood works best for you, where you feel most comfortable. We're not so worried about the units themselves. We're worried about which city feels more like home to you. And from there, we can really hone in on, I want to be in Mississauga, and look at everything in Mississauga. We get intentional at that point. We look at properties that match your needs, not just everything on the market. I don't want you looking at 20, 30, 40, 50 properties. You'll become paralyzed at the end of the day because you'll have too many options and you won't be able to pull the trigger. You don't need to see everything on the market. You need to see the things on the market that are applicable to your needs and your wants. And throughout the search, I'm going to be tracking what's actually selling in real time for you. I'm going to give you some feedback, and I'm going to help you stay ahead of the shifts. If I'm seeing and experiencing multiple offers happening more often, I'm going to let you know what to expect if that's something that's happening in today's market. We want to look smart. We don't want to look a lot. Now, right now, when I'm walking through a home with you, going through your first few showings, here's what I want you to focus on. I want you to focus on a few things. The layout. Can you live here comfortably for 3, 5, 7 years? The lighting, the vibe that the home gives you. Is it dark? Is it loud? Is it an awkward layout? Functionality. Where do you put your shoes, your laundry, your groceries? Condo fees, or the age of some of the big ticket items. How old is the house? How old is the roof? How old is the furnace? Does the condo have a management board that's extremely difficult to deal with? Are the condo fees too high? And what are you getting for them? Don't worry about asking the wrong questions. That's why you have me. All these questions are going to be applicable throughout your home journey, and getting the answers to them is going to make you feel more confident in actually making the right decision. My job is to spot a lot of these red flags for you that you're not necessarily going to see. And I'm going to provide you as much value as we can as we're going through each listing, not just show you what's on the market, maybe even show you some options that we have that are off market. Now, every buyer, you're going to hear the same question at some point. Is it a good time to buy? But I have a better question for you. What kind of market are you actually shopping in right now? We're going to actually look at whether the market is a buyer's market, a balanced market, a seller's market, and I'm going to coach you through what that actually means for you, how that affects your offer strategy, how quickly we need to act on properties that we're seeing, whether we expect multiple offers or to negotiate quite a bit. The key here is confidence, not chaos. When we shop with clarity and some structure, you're going to know when it's time to make the right offer and the right move. Now, once you find the right home, you're ready to go. It's time to get serious at this point. We're going to start writing that offer. And I'm going to walk you through the exact steps on how the offer looks and why the conditions actually matter, how much you need to put down, and how the offer process actually plays out. So you found that home, it checks all the boxes, you're ready to go. So what actually happens here? We're going to work on that offer paperwork together. Here's what the offer actually needs to include. We're going to have a price. Now that price is you telling the seller what you're willing to pay for their home based on market data, recent sales, how competitive the market is, but not based on your emotions. Deposit. It's typically 5% of the purchase price across the GTA. It's due within 24 hours of you submitting an offer and it being accepted. This is no additional money. This is money that's part of your total down payment. It's not extra money, it's just early money. Gets held in a trust account by the other real estate brokerage. The third item is your closing date. When you want to take possession of a home, generally it's between 30 and 90 days. But this can be something that can be negotiated. A seller will typically have a preferred closing date listed on their listing agreement for us to see. The fourth thing is the conditions that are actually going to be on this offer. It's perfectly normal for you to include conditions on your offer. Some of those conditions can be financing, home inspection, reviewing the condo documentation and the financials of the condo documentation. A conditional offer means the home is yours only if the conditions are actually satisfied. Regularly, this is a 5 business day period. And once the conditions are met, what you do is we sign a waiver, removing these conditions, and the deal becomes what we call firm. At this time, the contract is locked in, binding, and the home will be yours on closing day. Now, if your offer is accepted with conditions, here's what we need to get on top of right away. You gotta get on top of your financing. Your lender will now review the actual property, the MLS listing, sometimes an appraisal if we have one available right away. Now this is when you submit the full agreement to your broker or to the bank, get approval on the property, not just approval on yourself. The second item here is a home inspection. If it's applicable in this situation, we're gonna book this immediately. Try to get that inspection done within the first 1 to 3 days of that 5 conditional day period. Inspection will typically take between 2 to 3 hours, and it's gonna give you a full report, top to bottom, roof, plumbing, structure, electrical, and more. And if something major comes up in the inspection, you can either walk away, renegotiate that price, or ask for those sellers to complete some repairs for you. The third item commonly on an offer conditional is status certificate review. Now what that means is we want the condo's financial documentation to be reviewed by a lawyer. The condo financials have your budget, reserve fund, any legal issues that the condo might be up against right now. Could be something as simple as a slip and fall. And if anything looks off, the team of lawyers that we've actually started to work with already will make sure that they notify you whether it makes sense to go forward with this purchase. Now, once all the conditions are satisfied and you're confident, we can at that point sign the waiver, remove the conditions, and you're officially going to be a homeowner whenever that closing date you selected is. Now, what if during the offer process, we're actually dealing with something like a bidding war? In the GTA, bidding wars are a little bit fewer these days, but they've been common in the past. So especially homes that are well priced in a high demand area, you might see these still happening. And what an offer night is, the seller sets a date that interested buyers will submit an offer, and on that offer date, everybody will submit that offer. The seller will look at all the offers and decide what they want to do. Do they want to take one of these offers? Do they want to send everybody back for more money on a second bidding opportunity? There's a lot of different ways that they can play out. But what I want to talk about is how can you actually win one of these bidding wars without losing your mind and your wallet? So this is how I generally am guiding my clients through this process. We want to set a walkaway number. Before we even submit an offer at all, I'm going to show you comparable sales in the area, the market activity, help you decide what the home is actually worth on paper. We set a maximum number together and the price where if someone beats it, you're okay. You're happy that you didn't pay more than that. Now, we don't want to get into the position where you are changing your price based on emotions on offer night. We want to pick a rational number that makes sense when you're level-headed and not in it thinking about what you and your family can be doing in that backyard or walking around that neighborhood. You can't fall in love with one house. It's one of the things I cannot stress enough. There's always going to be another home. You might not believe it when you actually fall in love with a unit that checks every single box. You might think there's never going to be another unit like this, but I can promise you that there is more inventory coming. And emotional buying is what, for most people, leads to tens of thousands of dollars of overpaying, regretting your decision the minute you get the keys to your home. And my job is to be your safety net. I'll tell you it's not worth it when the number stops making sense, and to remind you that patience always does pay off. You have the ultimate decision at the end of the day, but I want to make sure I guide you in the right way. You need to remember, your first home should feel right, should make sense to you. If you buy with emotion and you stretch yourself too far, you don't get peace of mind. You get stress, you get financial pressure, less flexibility, and when you stay grounded, you actually buy a home that can support your life, not one that owns you. Now, we're going to do a little recap on what offer strategy looks like. I help you prepare your deposit and your paperwork early, ahead of time. We craft a clean, strong offer based on the comfort of your financials and the reality of the market. If we win, great. If we lose, we regroup, we adjust, and we move forward strategically, not emotionally. This buying home process is not a race at all. It's a smart, methodical process. And we treat it that way from day one. And once your offer is accepted, the conditions are waived, congratulations, you're finally a homeowner. You'll be buying a home and you'll be moving in shortly. But don't relax just yet. There's still a few additional steps you need to actually get yourself through. I'm going to guide you through what happens next from firm to close. So there's no surprises for you, no steps to be missed, and no regrets. But if you have any questions at this point, you can feel free. You can reach out to me. I'm happy to walk you through whatever it is you need. Now let's talk about that final step here. What happens between getting that deal done and getting your keys? With zero surprises and no last minute stress. Once that deal is firm, it means all conditions are waived. Both of you have signed off. You are officially on the path to homeownership. The seller is selling you their property. But the few things that need to get done right now are your lawyers need to make sure that they have all the paperwork. Your real estate lawyer is going to be the one that receives the signed agreement from us. They're going to order a title search on the property, make sure it's a legal, clean property. They're going to coordinate with the seller on the transfer of funds and all the closing details for you. They're going to handle things like your land transfer tax, property tax adjustments, registering the title on your property, and who's the name for the owner on closing day. They're going to make sure you have everything that you need so that way you don't have to be chasing around documentation. Now, you need to finalize your down payment and your closing costs. Your lender is going to send you mortgage instructions. They're going to send that to the lawyer as well. Then your lawyer is going to tell you how much you owe total on closing. This is going to include a few things. A few might surprise you, which is why we're making this video. The first is the remainder of your down payment. Don't forget, you did a deposit earlier, which is part of that down payment, but you also have the remainder, plus your legal fees, typically $1,200 to $2,000. Your land transfer tax, that's going to vary depending on where you buy your property, but you need to budget for that as well. Title insurance, adjustments, and prepaid utilities and property taxes. Don't forget, the owner's been living in this home paying all the bills. They might have already prepaid the year of property tax, and we're going to have to pay them back the difference between closing date and what they've already paid. Your lawyer, they're going to ask you to bring a certified check or a bank draft to their office a few days before closing. There's no e-transfers here. This is real estate. Now, we're going to schedule a final walkthrough of the property, usually 1 or 2 days before the closing. This is going to let us walk through the home, make sure everything looks just like it did when we bought that property. Make sure everything's in the same condition. There's no new holes in the walls. All the appliances work. Everything is as it should be, working and in good order. Now, if we spot something new and unexpected, this is where we talk to the lawyer. Make sure it gets handled before the closing of the property, which is why we do this a couple of days before. Anything that's missing, broken fixture, missing light, handle it with the other broker and the lawyer before closing. That way everything goes smoothly. Now on closing day, it's usually pretty quiet, and that's a good thing. Lawyers, they're doing most of the work. They're making sure the money is transferred behind the scenes, that mortgage funds are transferred, title is registered in your name, keys are released once everything is confirmed. And on closing day, you're going to get a call from myself or the lawyers around midday or early afternoon. We're going to be congratulating you on officially becoming a homeowner and how you can get the keys for your new home. Now, what I remind every client in the final weeks is don't make any financial changes that are big. Don't change jobs, finance a new car, have a massive credit card payment. Your mortgage approval is based on your finances being stable at the time you did your approval and your mortgage condition. Line up your movers early, book everything ahead of time. If it's a condo, book the elevator, set up your mail forwarding, change your address with key institutions, including the CRA. Secure your home insurance with lenders. It's going to require proof of home insurance before releasing mortgage funds as well. And of course, I can connect you with anybody you need to be connected with. Now, if you used your RSPs for the down payment process under the home buyer's plan, make sure file the right tax form, the T1036, so you are not taxed on that money when it comes to tax time. And remember, you have 15 years to repay that, but that doesn't start for 2 years after the purchase of your first home. Just a small portion annually, and it's going to help you get a little bit more home for your money when you're buying your first property. Well, you finally have made it to the end of the video here. And from your first conversation about buying to getting your keys, if you've made it this far in the video right now, you already understand how serious that I actually take my clients and the process. You're already ahead of 90% of the buyers out there in today's market because you're educating yourself, watching this video. You're not guessing. The biggest mistake a lot of buyers make is they think they have to figure everything out on their own. But a resource like this is going to give you the education that you need. The smart move is work with somebody who does this every single day, knows the red flags, knows the loopholes and the strategies, and has a full team of experts ready to back you up. So if you are thinking about buying something in the GTA, or if you just want to know where to begin, I've got everything else you need, and I'm happy to talk with you in the future. Thanks so much for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.